Well, in the days since the president announced the release of these 5 terror leaders in exchange for Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, we have seen a growing number of voices from all across the political spectrum asking whether this deal was worth it. When the administration suggested Bergdahl, who was a hero, who served with, quote, distinction, members of his own platoon weighed in with concerns that he may have in fact deserted and pointed out that others may have died in the effort to rescue him. That did not go over well, apparently, in Washington. First, we heard the State Department suggesting those platoon members didn't know what they were talking about. Then, White House aides started whispering to some favored reporters, describing this as swift boating, an attack aimed for some ugly political purpose. And then one of the more notable moments came this morning, when a deputy secretary in Housing and Urban Development, used to be a VA official, got on Twitter and wrote, "Here's the thing about Bergdahl and the jump to conclusions, Mats. What if his platoon was long on psychopaths and short on leadership?" Psychopaths? Joining me again, 6 former members of Bergdahl's platoon. Unbelievable. So now, let's just set this up. It's gone from they told you couldn't talk, then you decided to talk when they started to say their version, and now that you've started to talk, you've got administration figures calling you swift boaters and psychopaths. Who would like to take that?
Frankly, I'm kind of flattered that they're actually acknowledging us. That shows that we're kind of making a point here. Yeah. And that's very important to what we're trying to portray, our message. But the jump to conclusion to say that he was directly responsible for those deaths, that's...
Of the guys who were looking for him. I
need a little bit more evidence to actually say that.
Okay, you won't go that far. Does anybody go that far, that he caused the deaths of those who were looking for him?
Well, they portrayed, what is it, 6? Right after the news broke, 6 people from our whole battalion. They weren't, only 2 were in our company, so we don't know about the other 4.
Okay.
Now, at the same time, they all were, when Bergdahl left, and we knew that he then was trying to find someone who spoke English so he could talk to the Taliban, and we knew that he was then trying to make connections with them. I mean, the mission changed. I mean, just Bergdahl leaving, the whole mission changed. It went from our hearts and minds, you know, just going to villages, trying to find the Taliban and helping people, to a search. We got to search for this guy.
This is a big deal.
I mean, it changed everything. I mean, so every mission then was slated on, okay, we got intel that he might be here. Let's go over there and check it out. For what, 2 months, maybe more, just nonstop.
60 days of just going.
And does the stress level go up for you guys?
Oh, yeah. You don't get a shower. You don't get to go send an email.
Yeah, you don't. You're on the big post for maybe 1 hour, and so you get to choose if you want a hot meal, if you want a shower, you know, if you want to go to the PX and get whatever you want there, and then you have to roll out, and you don't know when you're going to come back. If it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks.
When you saw him get onto the helicopter the other day, you saw that video. Do you remember that? How did you feel when you saw that?
When I saw him, I said, "Wow, he looks pretty good." We looked a lot worse than that when we were out there looking for him. I mean, it was kind of funny to me. And then after watching the whole video, it's just, I mean, it was a little uneventful. They just handed him over, but them saying that, I mean, you heard that he was sickly and stuff. It didn't appear to be too sickly to me.
What really made me angry, though, was when I saw it on the news yesterday. Well, they played the audio from the people that handed him off, and they said that they were disappointed that they took him off so quickly because they didn't get to shake his hand and say goodbye. Well, if I was held in captivity for 5 years, the last thing I want to do is talk to somebody or shake their hand or laugh with them or joke or anything like that. I want to get out of there as fast as I can. And if I was in captivity, nobody's going to be saying, well, I want to say goodbye to him, because I'd probably be dead anyway.
I want to ask you, though, about with the attacks on you, because you were asked by the Army to sign the non-disclosures. And you guys are servicemen. You do what you're asked. So you signed them, right? What made you speak out? Was there something that upset you?
Well, we were told, you can't talk. And the NDAs, some people that haven't spoken out, they signed some official ones. Stuff we signed was more of like a gag order. You can't talk about where you're in. Probably shouldn't talk about it until he gets home.
So why'd you do it? Why did you feel the need to speak out now?
The truth needs to come out.
He's not a hero.
It's just exactly what happened, why it happened, and
what did you think when you saw the president with his parents in the Rose Garden?
I don't even know what to think on that. I mean,
we were all in the Army. So
it was hard to watch that. It was hard. I had to leave the room.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were all in the Army, and if he makes a mistake, if Matt makes a mistake, they do something that violates the military justice code. they get held accountable, whether it be a court-martial, field grade Article 15, company Article 15, whatever that may be, they get held accountable. It's not fair to the men that have served this nation honorably and done the right thing, made mistakes maybe, got punished for it, came back from it and did even bigger and greater things, to have him do something completely wrong, which is desertion, and come back labeled as a hero and not be punished at all.
What do you make, because we talked before the segment started about Susan Rice saying he served with honor and distinction.
Yeah.
These guys are not big fans of that comment. Well, I'll synopsize it this way. But then Jay Carney was asked to explain that, and here's what he said.
Sergeant Bergdahl put on the uniform of the United States voluntarily and went to war for the United States voluntarily. That takes honor, and it is a mark of distinction.
Okay.
He also voluntarily left as well, though. He voluntarily left us all behind to go do his own thing.
And I've known a lot of people in the Army that have signed the dotted line and came in, and they didn't serve with honor. So just because you signed the dotted line, you put on a uniform, doesn't mean that you've done anything yet. It doesn't mean that you've proved anything or shown that you have honor or done anything until you actually do something.
But even at the time, I mean, signing on that dotted line, knowing what you're getting yourself into, and then joining the military, knowing you're going to deploy, that's an honorable thing right off the bat, and that's great, and it was true at the time for him. But then he walked away in the middle of Afghanistan, on the farthest front lines you could be on, to go seek out the Taliban.
You feel that was an affront to you, that to say that his service was with honor and distinction?
It's saying that that's honorable, saying that walking away, and whatever his agenda was in trying to connect with the Taliban, explain to me how that's honorable. I mean, that's
they seem to be trying to predate it.
I mean, that's spitting in the face to everyone who deployed, came back.
That's every that goes for every serviceman.
Yeah. Oh, every single, not even us or his company. Every single person that was in the military.
Well, what do you make of these reports now that some White House aides are saying this? You guys are swift boaters, and even the president and his top aides are now saying that anybody complaining about this, they're being political. That this is a political.
Politics out of this.
Yeah, we've made it completely clear that, and this is the most I think we've ever talked about it. This is not about politics. This is about the fact that Bergdahl walked away from us, went to try to find the Taliban, and we know that for a fact, and we were all there. And there's not one person you could find who would say that they don't believe that, at least who was there. Yeah. That is as clear as day, and that's what we're trying to put out there. He's not a hero, and he did not serve with distinction, and that's a spit in the face to everyone who joined the Army and anyone who died looking for him. What do you think? What do you think their families think? They don't get their loved one back like Bergdahl's family.
Are you guys Republicans, Democrats? Are you political people?
Here's the thing: when you're in a combat zone, it doesn't matter if you're left, right, independent, Jedi, whatever you want to be. Okay, the only thing that matters is you have an American flag on your shoulder. And he's my brother, he's my brother, he's my brother. We're all going to ride together. We're all going to die together. And he, I guess, for whatever reason, I don't know how he felt about us, but we would all die for him. And he left.
And I considered him my really good friend. And that kind of hit me a little bit harder than maybe some of the other guys. But it all hit us hard because he was one of ours.
If you could see him today, what would you say to him?
I would just ask him why.
Yeah, I think that's every question. We've all, I think, collectively, and I know I have, because as being his team leader, I mean, he walks away, and we've never got closure on any of this. We have no idea why he did it, and all we want to know is why. Because we've had enough time to deal with our feelings about it. And I don't think any of us are angry at him, but we need closure. Everybody needs closure at this point, and now that it's this big, I mean, all of America needs closure. It's not just the people who were there.
Raise your hand if you would like to see him court-martialed and see a trial. Wow.
And at the same time, just getting his perspective and what he's going to say now and what he thought. Okay, well, you don't go up to a murderer and ask him, oh, did you do it? Oh, well, no, I didn't. Oh, okay, then you're free to go. Yeah.
A lot of people have said that. They've said, how can you say you deserted without getting his testimonial, his perspective on it?
So if he says, no, I didn't desert, are they going to say, oh, look, all those guys were just lying?
So what about all the classified files, sworn statements, original investigation, all these files that are classified that nobody can even see? Well, why can't they bring those to the public light?
Is there anything he could say at this point that would persuade you he did not desert?
No. There's nothing he could say.
Nothing.
Absolutely.
He left ROP, he left brothers, soldiers, leadership. He left the country to go seek out the Taliban.
Yeah, he still is a U.S. citizen, and he hasn't been discharged from the Army, so he still is a U.S. soldier. I still think that he does deserve due process.
We all agree with that.
And and if that investigation leads to a court-martial, then so be it.
That's our main point. Is we want him to
be held accountable for everything that he's done.
He needs to answer for what he did.
The evidence is so circumstantial you can't do anything or have a trial.